Okay, I beg you, if you're a Land Rover person and you're watching this video, please comment what you think I should do. If not for the sake of helping me grow my YouTube channel by your marvelous comment, fluffing up the algorithm, if to help me decide how to build this Land Rover. Hello, and welcome to another fun and exciting episode of Willpower Adventures. Today, we begin the lengthy process of rejuvenating a chassis. The Land Rover I'm currently sitting in is a 1965-ish. It shows signs of being a Series 2, not a 2A, but it's registered as a 1965, so 2A-ish. Anywho, the Series 2 we're currently sitting in has a very rotten chassis, but there's a lot of really good components on it still, like spring hangers, and the front cross members still totally good, aside from a dent, but there's a lot of good stuff, and there's a lot of bad stuff. I can tell by looking at this vehicle that the chassis actually broke in half at some point while it was being driven, due to some fiberglass repairs on the roof, and just some things. It's a little bent and a little tweaked in some certain places, and I can just see that that's what happened. So, I am going to be getting a long wheelbase chassis for free and modifying it to fit an 88-inch Land Rover. So what that's going to entail is, firstly, cutting it in half so it will fit in my van and I can get it home, and then a lot of careful calculations and measurements and trimming and cutting and grinding, and then welding. But basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure off of this main cross member here a certain distance back, and I'm aiming for somewhere in the middle of the space in between the transmission cross member and this bend. This bend here is where a lot of stress in the chassis is, and I want to be mating the two halves once I cut. And then this is the straight section here before it bumps up is much longer and a longer wheelbase, so I'll be cutting and then cutting again and then adding together, rejuvenating the chassis. So I will have you along for that trip and cutting it in half and all of that stuff and mathing it up, and let's do it together. Let's restore this Land Rover. Okay. So we're en route to pick up the chassis that I am going to cut in half and put in the back of the van, and it's going to be a fun little experience. You're gonna follow me along the next couple of months, or however long it's going to take for me to surgically and scientifically fuse the two halves back together in the correct wheelbase dimension in a straight kind of way. So if that all made sense, then that's fantastic. Yeah. Freedom.
They may take our frames, but they will never take our
Oh, yeah, that was really good. That was pretty good. We're really bad with catchphrases. We usually get like two bits together. That works. I can come up with an example right now.
Oh, you're separate.
Woo!
That's done. Well done. I'm surprised you didn't, you know, collapse.
Yeah.
The jack in there, but for that engine light. Alright, so it is another day, and as a matter of fact, it's the next day from the last clip you saw. We got the new chassis cut in half and then loaded into the van, no problem, and all of our other stuff loaded on top of it, and well, it's Monday now, so we're back to work, and I am picking parts. I got 4 different things I'm going to pick and pack and bring to the post office. That's not necessarily what this video is about, but I gotta tell you because it's what I gotta do, and we can do some more of the chassis work there. And also, look, I got these Series 1 windscreens, so that's pretty good. Happiness. Wow. Okay, first thing on the list, we have a XR500 timing advance unit that sold for, I'm going to put the number up on the screen because I don't know. And next we have, in bin 14, here is the next piece, brake master cylinder for DR600 Suzuki. It sold for this much. Okay, so the next part is XS650 starter gear cover and stuff. Okay. And the person mentioned that they just need the washer. That's the one thing they need, so please make sure it's in there. So we did. And it's in there. Fantastic. And the last thing that sold was a wiring harness and electrical components from Kawasaki 175. Boom. So here we have the 2 halves of our long wheelbase chassis. You know, there's not really much for me to talk about at the moment. But it really should be interesting doing this whole thing here. Just noticing a difference between the 2 chassis already, I think. No, maybe not. Ears for the tailgate I thought were a lot higher, but they're the same. This outrigger's replacement, and a little bit cheesy, but that's okay. This outrigger's banged up. Honestly, it all looks so freaking good. I felt pretty twisted cutting it in half. So, doesn't really matter. I'm going to do something with it, and it wasn't doing anything in its last home. So, Excite Bike. I'm gonna try and get this out here now. Try and get it out of here. So I guess I'll have to ask for help. Well, I screwed up, and my dad helped me get the chassis out of the van, as you can see here, and I forgot to press record, which would have been pretty good, because I just about had a heart attack getting this big half out, so that's always good. Well, anyways, here we have it. More or less, the front bit of this frame is proper, good to go, the shape we need it to be. And then from here back is where there's some added length and stuff. And now that I've got the two frames next to each other, I can sort of calculate all of that. So, something I'm noticing is this chassis rail is a different thickness. It tapers, which is not the most convenient thing in the world, because I want to cut this middle section out. And then weld the two back together with a whole bunch of other things involved, but I'm seeing that I'm going to have an issue with that. The thickness of the chassis there is significantly different than there. So I believe it's time for a tape measure. That is 7 and 7 3/4 ish. Now that is different. That is different indeed. Interesting. So we've got 6 and an 8. That is quite a bit. That's 1 inch and 5/8 thickness difference in this direction. So it doesn't matter if the chassis are the exact same, but what is somewhat important is that the body fits onto the new chassis properly. Okay, just sort of talking this through with myself. But man, like, good shape. Here's a little patch on the bottom of this bulkhead outrigger. Well, there is always the option of just welding it back together and building a long wheelbase Land Rover. Certainly wouldn't be a bad idea. I guess my only hesitant and hesitant. Not sure if hesitancy is a word, but anyways, I'm a little hesitant because it will be not correct on paperwork. Long wheelbase or short wheelbase. Don't know if it matters. In fact, I know it doesn't matter. So there is a chance what we're gonna do is just restore this chassis. This weekend someone asked me, because I told them what I was doing with this frame, they asked me if it was okay to, you know, cut the frame in half and weld it back together kind of thing. And I basically just said yes, but I guess I was trying to come up with some kind of an answer without being a smart ass, like, well, all the pieces were not welded together at some point before, so what's the difference between me welding it together now and it being welded together in 1960 or whatever? So we're at the point here where I'm really struggling with what I should do with this chassis. Obviously it's day one, about 13 minutes in to the whole thought process, but okay, I beg you, if you're a Land Rover person and you're watching this video, please comment what you think I should do. If not for the sake of helping me grow my YouTube channel by your marvelous comment, fluffing up the algorithm, if to help me decide how to build this Land Rover. Don't get upset and think, oh, he's doing bad things to Land Rovers, because the guy wasn't going to have this in his driveway in Langley for very much longer before he probably wanted to recycle it. It's taken up a lot of space. And the same with the vehicle I'm sitting in, to which the said chassis would be for. It just sat for the longest time. Like, I don't know how long. March 2011. Is that right? Yeah. 11 years. 11 years it sat. So I don't feel bad that I'm doing sacrilegious, non-rivet counter type things. I just want to save Land Rovers.